Test, test, test.
He too can.
Okay, let's watch a little bit of Channel 4. Guys, it's Jover. It's so Jover.
Sarah Milgram
This is not good whatsoever. Okay, let's play it.
and Yaron Lashinsky were a young couple who worked at the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C. Just yesterday morning, a colleague said, "We were still laughing together by the coffee corner. Now all that remains is a picture." The couple were at an event last night at the Capitol Jewish Museum, right in the heart of D.C. They left the building around 9 p.m. and were shot at close range by a man who lay in wait. Police said the gunman had been seen pacing back and forth outside the building, then approached a group of 4 people as they left, pulled out a handgun and shot 2 of them. Police have identified the suspect as 30-year-old Elias Rodriguez from Chicago. After the shooting, he entered the building, and at first, witnesses said he appeared distressed and gave him water.
The security guard happened to let this guy in. I guess they were thinking that he was a victim. So about 10 minutes later, when the cops actually came in, he said, "I did this." He said, "Sir, I'm unarmed." He put his hands up.
And then he reaches into his bag and pulls out a keffiyeh and says, "I did it. I did this for Gaza."
That traditional keffiyeh scarf to show solidarity with the people of Gaza was handed to police as the suspect was taken into custody and appeared to make his motivation clear.
Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine!
Organisers said the event had been about humanitarian aid and trying to bring both sides together. Now a cold-blooded murder in the heart of Washington, D.C. has left the Jewish community in fear.
You think I should change the stream title? That might not be a bad idea, actually. So let's just get one thing straight. Killing civilians is not going to actually achieve anything. We looked at the ANC and their actions, and even though they did kill civilians, they always kept it extremely targeted. It's not just random. This isn't going to achieve anything, killing embassy workers. And it is, people are going to say that it's a bad look for the movement. Let's just leave that aside. It's just not obviously it's a horrible thing, and I don't think that there's really any connection between I don't think there's any connection between fighting for a future in which Palestinians aren't being persecuted and killing American workers that are working at the Israeli embassy. So you might be curious about the stream title. 2 Israeli embassy workers shot, freedom of speech dies. And that's because let's just look at how people are trying to frame this. We know that shouting Free Palestine has been an affront to Zionist ears for years now. It's been an affront to Zionist ears for years now, and it's been described as genocidal language. So this is let's see how they're framing this. Okay.
This thing is, I think, going to shake the whole community. Right now, it's like every trauma. It's a shock. Never seen this before. 2 Jews shot dead in the street in Washington, D.C., just like that. But we'll have to process this. We'll have to come together as a community and be resilient, strong, and overcome the challenge.
Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called the killing appalling anti-Semitic murder, while his foreign minister blamed critics of the Israeli government who he said incited the violence.
So let's just get that straight. Critics of the Israeli government incited the violence against them.
Netanyahu called the killing appalling anti-Semitic murder, while his foreign minister blamed critics of the Israeli government who he said incited the violence.
there is a direct line connecting anti-Semitic and anti-Israeli incitement to this murder. This incitement is also done by leaders and officials of many countries and international organizations, especially from Europe.
This week, Keir Starmer.
So it's caused by organizations that are critical to the Israeli government, especially from Europe. So guys, when you say, oh, one person wasn't Jewish, I don't care. I really don't even give a fuck about whether they're Jewish or not, because the people that are going to use these killings to try to silence anti-Israeli protests, they don't care if they're Jewish or not. All they care about is that someone was shot and killed, and then the person said, I did it, and I did it to free Palestine. That is enough for them to say it's an anti-Semitic incident where they do say 2 Jews were shot. And it's because the government of Israel was criticized. And that's all you need to know, right? They don't care about the victims. They're not trying to say that these victims like deserve better and we need to have like a moment of peace honoring them and remembering them. No, immediately it's Keir Starmer is to blame because he said Israel's committing a genocide. It's Hassan Piker is to blame because he says free Palestine, and he's spouting off radical ideas like Israel is a horrible rogue state that's actually like destroying committing atrocities on the world scale. A German Christian who joined the IDF because he wanted to. Hey, who says German Christians can't be Jewish at this point? As long as it serves Israel's purposes. Okay, let's play a little bit more of this.
Starmer said he was horrified by Israel's escalation of the war in Gaza.
Where the level of suffering, innocent children being bombed again, is utterly intolerable.
But today, he too condemned the attack as anti-Semitic and evil. Today, the FBI raided the home in Chicago where the suspect Elias Rodriguez is believed to live. He wasn't on any police watch list, but he was once a member of a left-wing group known for sharing anti-Israeli rhetoric and posted a manifesto on X last night condemning Israel and referring to an armed act that was apparently about to happen. In the early hours, President Trump said the killings were obvious.
I mean, yeah, obviously the person who committed it has mental health issues. They released an entire manifesto. They committed violence that has no meaning, no actual like value whatsoever. Completely horrible, and the person should be, obviously should not have done this. Trump says these horrible DC killings based obviously on anti-Semitism must end now. Hatred and radicalism have no place. I do like the idea that all of these people are saying that it's based off of anti-Semitism. They're basically being like, the person says he did it because Israel's doing horrible things, but that must just be anti-Semitic. So it's like, now if you're against horrible things, you're anti-Semitic. Condolences to the families of the victims. So sad that such things as this can happen. God bless you all.
Obviously, anti-Semitism and hatred and radicalism.
Hatred and radicalism have no place in the USA? What are you talking about, dude? You literally pardoned. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if this guy that was released was part of January 6th.
Have no place in the USA, while his Attorney General visited this scene this morning.
What we saw last night was disgusting. I saw a young man's body being taken away who was about to get engaged. He had an entire life in front of him, and that was taken away. The hate has got to stop, and it has to stop now. And this person will be prosecuted to the fullest extent.
So just remember, every time a shooting happens and like black people get shot up or gay people get shot up or trans people get shot, it's never, oh, there's way too much hatred in this country and it's white supremacy, it's terrorism, it's like misogyny, it's these young men that are lonely, isolated, and they get radicalized online by the right wing. It's never that. It's they have mental health issues. We have a mental health problem in this country. It's like, I do kind of find it funny that, A, they're not talking about gun control, and B, now they're willing to talk about like the radicalism and the hatred as soon as it's someone that yells free Palestine. But if it's someone that supports Trump, like Trump got assassinated. He got like attempted to be assassinated twice by two Republicans, by people that supported Trump, and now they're like, it's radicalism, it's political ideology. I don't think we want to look at which political ideology brings about more violence, which political ideology is more attractive to people with mental health issues that think that it's acceptable to do violence. I mean, where was that clip of like Charlie Kirk, when can we do violence? That was hilarious. They were like, oh yeah, this one. Oh my god, is this not going to be an actual video?
This is tyranny. When do we get to use the guns? No, and I'm not. That's when do we get to use the gun? This is we're living under a corporate and medical fascism. This is tyranny. When do we get to use the guns? No, and I'm not. That's not a joke. I'm not saying it like that. I mean, literally, where's the line? How many elections are they going to steal before we kill these people?
So no, hold on. No, stop.
He's like, I'm not just talking metaphorically, like taking out the big guns or what that one Democrat said. I'm not just talking about like, bringing a gun to a knife fight to show that, we really mean business and we've dotted all of our I's and crossed all of our T's. But I mean, when can we actually pull triggers of real physical and non-metaphorical guns to blow the brains out of politicians, of whom I have a list? So anyway, I also just, it's so disgusting to me that like we have people with this faux outrage right now. Like, these people don't give a fuck about anyone getting killed. They're causing mass death in Palestine. They've completely stripped the civil rights away from everyone in this country, just detaining, deporting whoever they feel like. They don't care about anything, and yet two people get killed, and because they think they can use it for their political gain, they turn on the waterworks. This is just the beginning of the hate that will last years and will escalate. I hope not. We'll see, though.
Of the law.
As she spoke, officials were conducting the Jewish ritual of painstakingly clearing the site where the couple perished. A couple that were due to travel to Jerusalem to get engaged next week. The gold ring already bought by 30-year-old Yaron for his 26-year-old fiancée-to-be, Sarah. Now both their young lives taken in a seemingly never-ending cycle of hatred and violence. Well, that corner behind me that you can see there is the exact spot where the young couple were killed last night. And in the last half hour or so, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel has appeared on television and given a very angry fight.
Bro, I think it's so ridiculous that they call this as part of a cycle of violence. I mean, these people, unfortunately, were targeted because of their connection to a genocidal state. It's like, would the person who shot and killed them have been violent if Israel wasn't doing a genocide? Probably. Would he have targeted the Israeli embassy if Israel wasn't doing a genocide? I don't think so. So there's one way that you can stop this cycle. Like, what is this cycle? Is there extrajudicial vigilantism? Vigilante killings on like both sides of this? Is that the cycle? It's not a gang war. Like, the framing of this is so fucked up. It's one person who, had mental health issues and did target Israel because of the atrocities Israel was doing, thought that this would be a way to end it, and obviously that's not true, and that's like evidence of their mental health issues. Killing civilians is not a way to end a genocide that's going on. And once again, the framing of this is so weird. It's like the idea that this shooting is somehow causing the genocide. Just even this Channel 4 news is doing the thing where it's like, oh, someone shot 2 Israeli embassy workers. Well, that must be in some way a way to keep the genocide going, which is like an admission that they're framing it as, oh, these left-wingers are just as violent, they're just as capable, they have just as much agency as the conservative Israelis that are doing the genocide, right? And then that's like that's a false equivocation they're doing, and that is the way that they're saying it's a cycle of violence. There's left-wingers that do radicalism by saying that they say free Palestine, or they'll shoot like 2 Israeli embassy workers, and then that perpetuates the violence on the Israeli side, where they're genociding like 40,000 Palestinians, 100,000 Palestinians, starving out all of the Palestinians, and doing colonization and ethnic cleansing. It's like these things aren't the same. It's not a cycle. It's a genocide going on. I don't understand why they're saying it's a cycle of violence.
Fiery statement in which he has lambasted international leaders, including Sir Keir Starmer, for their criticism of Israel this week, and said to them, in light of what happened here last night, that they were now on the wrong side of history. Let's hear a clip from the Prime Minister now.
They want Israel to stand down and accept that Hamas's army of mass murderers will survive, rebuild.
Okay, just every time he says Hamas or Hamas's army of mass murderers, he's just talking about Palestinians. We know that Israel thinks that like every child above 14 that's a male is a member of Hamas. They're a valid military target. And we also know that Hamas has like recruited more people than they've gotten killed by the IDF since the beginning of this, since October 7th. So yeah, he just means Palestinians. Oh, they don't want all of the Palestinians to get killed.
And repeat the October 7th massacre again and again and again, because that's what Hamas has vowed to do. I say to President Macron, Prime Minister Carney, and Prime Minister Starmer, when mass murderers, rapists, baby killers, and kidnappers thank you, you're on the wrong side of justice. You're on the wrong side of humanity.
Bro, you literally are a mass murderer, a baby killer, and you support rapists. What the fuck are you talking about? What the actual fuck are you talking? Like, how can he say this with a straight face? He's literally sitting there and being like, if all of these people that I described, who accurately describe who I am, say that you're a good person, you're on the wrong side of history. Well, you do all of that shit yourself. You're literally a wanted war criminal. How do you sit here as a wanted war criminal and be like, if Hamas thanks you, then you're on the wrong side of it? Dude, you're the fucking embodiment of evil on this world right now. He's worse than Trump.
And you're on the wrong side of history.
Well, we were also here earlier when the Israeli ambassador came to visit the scene, and we asked him that given the event in that building there last night was all about bridging the divide and about humanitarian aid, was now the time for Israel to really knuckle down and try and get a ceasefire. He told us pointedly that Israel was always looking for a ceasefire and said that they...
Why are you repeating this? Please, can you please fact check this? I would love it so much. Channel 4 was so good at actually documenting the beginning stages of this genocide. Please just fact check this shit. Yeah, they've been trying to get a ceasefire. They want to cease firing their bullets after they've killed the last of the Palestinians. That's Israel's version of a ceasefire.
Were tired of what he called the obsessive barrage of criticism against his country.
I'm sorry. You're tired of getting excessively criticized. You're tired of the excessive barrage of criticism against Israel. I don't know. Did Israel stop the genocide yet? Because even then, I think they should just shut the fuck up and be criticized until they start crying every time they go out in public. Oh my god. Ugh. Sure, we just want to ethnically cleanse West Bank and Gaza, but can you please shut the fuck up about it? We get it. You don't like it. Can you stop? It's complaining to me is just making my life worse. It's not actually changing anything. Bro, what the fuck is wrong with these people?
For the suspect, he is due to appear in court later today, and the White House has just promised that he will be punished, they say, to the full extent of the law.
Siobhan, thank you very much indeed there from Washington. Well, before Prime Minister Netanyahu made his statement...
Wow, so they actually didn't fact check that at all. They just ran with the line that Israel has always been trying to get a ceasefire. What the fuck? Why? What is the point of news if they're not going to present reality to you? They're just going to, oh, well, this one person said lies. Okay. You don't feel a duty to tell your viewers that it's a lie? What the actual fuck? What is the point of news?
I spoke to Labour peer Lord Levy, a leading voice in the British Jewish community. His cousin Emily Damari was taken hostage by Hamas on October the 7th and released this January. He has condemned the Israeli government's assault on Gaza and has come out in support of the British government's move to suspend trade talks.
Anyway, so basically what are we seeing right now? Well, we're seeing that Netanyahu is getting increasingly criticized on an institutional level. It's like legacy news media is being more comfortable criticizing Netanyahu. More and more world governments are stepping forth, and or more governments on the world stage are criticizing Netanyahu because his actions are getting so blatantly disgusting and like way harder to defend as appropriate actions. And so the response is going to, rise proportionately. It's going to now be that Free Palestine is an evil. If you simply criticize the Israeli government, you are encouraging violence against Jewish people. That's anti-Semitic. And yeah, we'll see that. So where is Netanyahu's speech? I thought I had it. I had his speech somewhere. Here we go. Play this.
Washington, something horrific happened.
It's in English, of course.
Terrorist shot in cold blood a young, beautiful couple, Yaron Lishinsky and Sarah Milgram. Yaron had just bought an engagement ring for Sarah. He was planning to give it to her in Jerusalem next week. They were planning to start a new and happy life together. Well, that tragically did not happen. Yaron and Sarah...
Hey, all I'm going to say is if you wanted to start a new and happy life, you probably shouldn't have moved to Israel. So, that probably wouldn't have been the happily ever after that they thought it would be.
Weren't the victims of a random crime. The terrorist who cruelly gunned them down did so for one reason and one reason alone. He wanted to kill Jews. And as he was taken away, he chanted, "Free Palestine." This is exactly the same chant we heard on October 7th. On that day, thousands of terrorists stormed into Israel from Gaza. They beheaded men, they raped women, they burned babies alive, they butchered 1,200 innocent people and took 251 innocent people hostage to the dungeons of Gaza. A short time afterwards, Chancellor
the dungeons of Gaza. So because they wanted to kill Jews, well, I think that they did it because they thought Israel was doing a genocide, and they thought killing like Israeli embassy workers would do anything. I think that's the reason. I've still yet to see any evidence that this was an anti-Semitic attack. They didn't go to like the nearest synagogue or Jewish temple and shoot people up there. It seems to be targeted towards Israel, and once again, it's not a good thing. It was a horrible murder that took place. But man, just once again, to pretend like this has nothing to do with the actions of Israel, and everyone that focuses on Israel is doing so purely because of anti-Semitism. It is a dangerous idea that they're spreading. It is an idea that Jewish people are responsible for the actions of this country, this rogue nation state.
Scholz of Germany visited Israel, and after he saw the horrors, he said to me, "These Hamas terrorists are exactly like the Nazis." He was right.
Wait, who said that? Who said that?
And after he saw the horrors to the dungeons of Gaza. A short time afterwards, Chancellor Scholz of Germany visited Israel, and after he saw the horrors, he said to me, "These Hamas terrorists are exactly like the Nazis." He was right.
God. Bro, where are all of the people that sit there and like cry to themselves? They're like, you can't compare Trump to the Nazis. You can't compare Netanyahu to the Nazis. The Nazis were like the most purest form of evil. That's so offensive to Jewish people. If you compare anyone other than the actual Nazis in like the 40s and 30s to the real Nazis, it's so offensive. But now you can compare, dude. Where are the people that are like, this is offensive to compare Hamas to the Nazis? You're gonna say that 1,200 people killed is similar to what the Nazis did? 1,200 Jews? You're comparing 1,200 Jews being killed to, and I'm not even saying it is 1,200 Jews being killed because there are non-Jewish people in Israel. 1,200 people being killed to 6 million Jews dead in the Holocaust? 17 million people killed in the Holocaust? That's what you're going to compare together right now? I mean, where's all of these fucking people that are like, you can't compare anyone to the Nazis?
And if they could get away with it, these Hamas terrorists would have slaughtered every last Jew on earth. For these neo-Nazis, Free Palestine is just today's version of Heil Hitler.
Bro, this is a speech.
They don't want a...
This is supposed to be honoring two people that were working for Israel that got killed. And in less than 2 minutes, he's transitioned into Free Palestine means Hail Hitler. Free Palestine is today's Hail Hitler. The further a society drifts from the truth, the more it will hate those who speak it. Evil becomes more desperate when their time is nearer. When a person says the truth, you know it by look. Is this by bots? Like, okay, so these people are actually just like shitting on him, right? The further a society drifts from the truth, the more it will hate those who speak it. So these are in favor of the guy yelling Free Palestine. How the fuck far has Israel fallen? The world has ignored the developments in the Middle East and especially in Iran for so long. Like, people are just saying things. I don't know if they're like anti-Israel or pro-Israel. There's nothing left in Gaza. That's like obviously anti-Israel. He killed 70,000 and he's talking about terrorists. When a person says the truth, you know it by looking into his eyes. What? Are they saying he's lying? Evil becomes more desperate. I think they're talking about Netanyahu. I think they're saying Netanyahu is more desperate. Netanyahu's the evil. Psalms 122:6, we will stand for Israel and we love you. Wow, a Christian fundamentalist that's not like a raging anti-Semite. Although, actually, they're just pro-Israel. They probably are anti-Semitic. Monster Netanyahu, just to clarify. You've killed more than 50,000 people and you're crying for one couple. Dog is better than you. Love Palestine. Holy shit, dude. This is literally the Israeli Prime Minister's channel. This is the Israeli Prime Minister's personal channel, and he's getting brigaded by people that are like, you're worse than a fucking dog. Like, you're a horrible person. What can one expect from the religion of peace, slaughtering people that do not believe in the Allah? May the couple rest in peace, their life was cut short. Prayers for families. Israel, an injured country since its inception. Leave my tax money alone. Okay, this is a cesspool of just like the true nexus of all ideologies have clashed together in Netanyahu's comment section. In his personal YouTube video, his personal channel. Okay.
Palestinian state. They want to destroy the Jewish state. Slaughtered every last Jew on earth. For these neo-Nazis, Free Palestine is just today's version of Heil Hitler. They don't...
I mean, that might be soundbite of the year right there. Free Palestine is today's version of Hail Hitler.
Want a Palestinian state. They want to destroy the Jewish state. They want to annihilate the Jewish people who've been in the land of Israel for 3,500 years.
Oh my God, just once again, obviously the false conflation that they do is if you say Free Palestine, that necessarily means Israel gives up control of Palestine. If Israel's giving up control of Palestine, then they say that that's like an affront to their Jewish state and thus a destruction of that Jewish state and thus a destruction of Jewish people. So you can't advocate for equality because that means all Jews are getting eradicated in the mind of the Zionist.
I could never understand how this simple truth evades the leaders of France, Britain, Canada, and others. They're now proposing to...
Well, oh my God, dude, holy shit. Okay, so when Canada and France and the UK don't give a fuck about what you mean when you say that Palestinians are advocating for the genocide of Jewish people, it's because right now, Palestinians are getting genocided. They're not genociding Jewish people, right? And so let's stop the genocide you're doing and then also not let Palestinians do genocide. I think that would be a adequate solution that would appease both parties, unless you're on the pro-genocide of Palestinian party, which is what you are.
Establish a Palestinian state and reward these murderers with the ultimate prize. Well, for 18 years, we had a de facto Palestinian state.
What?
It's called Gaza.
Oh, that's the de facto Palestinian. Okay, that's the Palestinian state. Notice how he says de facto, because he's like, yeah, obviously it's not a real Palestinian state. We still controlled every port of entry. We still controlled the electricity, the food, water, the aid that would come through. We'd control the immigration that would allow you to go from the other side of the Palestinian state, from Gaza to the West Bank. If you ever like built up too much, we'd mow the lawn and just bomb you for fun. Like, fuck you.
And what did we get? Peace? No. We got the most savage slaughter of Jews since the Holocaust. You won't be surprised to learn that Hamas thanked President Macron and Prime Minister Starmer and Carney for demanding that Israel end its war in Gaza immediately. Hamas was right to thank them.
So what are you saying? You're saying we had a Palestinian state and it got us violence, right? So the conclusion is that there shouldn't be no Palestinian state. That's what you're concluding. That's what you're doing. Why are you acting like that's not what you're doing?
Because by issuing their demand, replete with a threat of sanctions against Israel, not Hamas, these three leaders effectively said they want Hamas to remain in power. They want Israel to stand down and accept that Hamas's army of mass murderers will survive, rebuild, and repeat the October 7th massacre again and again and again, because that's what Hamas has vowed to do. I say to President Macron, Prime Minister Carney, and Prime Minister Starmer,
let's just get this straight. This speech started with Netanyahu talking about the murder of those two embassy workers, and he's now lambasting Macron and Starmer and Carney for calling to an end to the genocide. Like, make these two make sense. Make A connect to B, because I'm not seeing it. Like, it's an extremely tenuous connection that he's drawing. He's saying that one mentally unwell person killed 2 people that were working for the Israeli embassy, and thus we can't stop genociding. Like, what? There's a conclusion. Now that's a conclusion.
Mass murderers, rapists, baby killers, and kidnappers, thank you. You're on the wrong side of justice. You're on the wrong side of humanity. And you're on the wrong side of history. Now, these leaders may think that they're advancing peace. They're not. They're emboldening Hamas to continue fighting forever. And they give them hope to establish a second Palestinian state, from which Hamas will again seek to destroy the Jewish state. And mind you, it's not going to be... It's
such a like pure concentrated amount of evil. I really want to click away. I just want to see what else he says. Like, how is he framing this rhetorically? We've already kind of figured it out. He's just like, stop criticizing me, stop criticizing me. That's basically what it is. I mean, Channel 4 News, according to them, the Israeli ambassador to the US is like, I'm just so tired of getting criticized. Like, they just can't. They're sick of defending their actions. They're just like, yeah, we're doing a genocide. Shut the fuck up about it. Just let me kill the Palestinians. It's almost over, and then we can all forget that it ever happened, okay? Okay? That's just what they want to do.
When you establish a Palestinian state, we've seen it. The radicals take over. Iran sends them in, and they take over. So don't give us this talk. It'll be a peaceful Palestinian state. It won't be. But the hypocrisy doesn't...
Yeah, no, just racism right there. No, there's no Palestinian state that will ever be peaceful. Oh my god. Bro, I'm so fucking sick of this message being laundered by liberal Zionists like Ethan Klein. Like, shut the fuck up, Ethan. This is your conclusion. You might say that you don't like Netanyahu, but deep down he agrees with Netanyahu. It was a Palestinian state in Gaza, and that did bring us October 7th. But now he's just like, of course, it was inevitable that Israel does this genocide. It was inevitable that October 7th happened. This fucking message of genocide and racism gets laundered by Ethan, and he gives us fake tears, crying on screen about how, a Palestinian dad is carrying his dead daughter in his arms, and it was so sad to see. Yeah, was it fucking sad to see? But now you're advocating for Gaza to be under the, like, concentration camp-like conditions, and then maybe in 50 years, Israel can bring down the border wall. Shut the fuck up. He's like, dude, these people are so fucking racist. They don't even understand what they're talking about. Like, Netanyahu, I think, is just evil, and he understands that he's just advocating for genocide. But Ethan, he's like, I don't like the genocide, but I like every single aspect of the mentality that gets you, that concludes the Palestinians must be genocided. He's just too much of a fucking coward to actually say the conclusion. He's like, Palestinians don't deserve their own state. Palestinians are so fucking evil, we can't give them equal rights as Israelis. We saw what happened when Palestinians were able to rule by themselves. Hila just had to join the IDF. She was scared because Israel was getting bombed. What does that all make people conclude? It makes people conclude that genocide is the answer. There's a Palestinian question, and the solution is the final fucking solution. That's the conclusion, but Ethan's too much of a fucking pussy-ass bitch to actually say that that's what he believes in. So then he just hand waves and he's like, I don't know what the answer is, but we should just like leave them in concentration camps for decades. And then maybe after they haven't done any violence, then we can make them have maybe then we can make them equal citizens. Oh my God, I'm so fucking sick of this shit.
These and other leaders have bought into Hamas's propaganda that says Israel is starving Palestinian children. And not only is Hamas putting out this lie, a few days ago, a top UN official said that 14,000 Palestinian babies would die in 48 hours. You see, many international institutions are complicit in spreading this lie. The press repeats it, the mob believed it, and a young couple is then brutally gunned down in Washington. So here are the facts. Since October 7th, Israel has sent 92,000 aid trucks into Gaza. That's right, 92.
No, you haven't sent that. You've allowed that to come in, and you need like 30,000 a day. Like, bro, the aid that's needed in, I'll just say in Gaza. About 130 lorries carrying humanitarian aid have crossed into the Gaza Strip 3 days after Israel eased an 11-week blockade. Let's take a look at this in AP News article. Netanyahu promises new Gaza aid delivery plan as supplies still fail to reach Palestinians. Israel has allowed dozens of aid trucks into Gaza after blocking all food, fuel, and medicine and other materials for nearly 3 months. Israel said 100 trucks crossed into Gaza on Wednesday. Aid groups ran out of food to distribute weeks ago, and most of the population of around 2.3 million relies on communal kitchens whose supplies are nearly depleted. Okay, does it talk about how much aid is needed? Because they were talking about that. How much aid is UN bodies estimate 600 trucks a day are required to begin tackling Gaza's chronic humanitarian crisis. And he sent in dozens of food trucks after 3 months. Like, the guy's just a fucking monster. The idea that Israel has sent in trucks. Now, Israel's been blocking trucks that humanitarian organizations have sent there, and then they've been blocked by Israel.
1,000 aid trucks. That includes 1.8 million tons of aid. 1.8 million tons of aid. More than enough food to feed everyone in Gaza. Yet as we had let the aid come in, Hamas stole it. They took a huge chunk for themselves. The rest they sold at exorbitant prices to the Palestinian population. And then they used the money they stole to recruit new terrorists to continue their war against Israel.
What are you talking about, bro? This is... Oh, wow. Really just peering into the face of evil right now and picking up some new talking points from him. So, Hamas stole the aid that the UN and other groups was sending in. They sold it. Who did they sell it to? I don't know. Who has money in Israel right now, or in Gaza right now? They sold it, and then they used that money to recruit more people. Because the reason people weren't fighting against Israel was because the pay wasn't good enough. They didn't have enough of a paycheck. The fuck? Like, what is this logic, dude? Hamas stole food so that they could sell it on the black market and then recruit more. It's a fucking concentration camp. There's nobody to sell it to. People want to fight against Israel because Israel's blowing up their family, not because the pay, not because the benefits aren't good enough. Bro, this is so insane.
Our goal from the start was to get food to Palestinian civilians, not to Palestinian terrorists. So we consulted with our American allies. What do we do to prevent Hamas from looting the aid? Well, together we devised a mechanism to achieve this goal. American companies will distribute the food directly to Palestinian families.
Oh, yeah, American mercenaries.
They'll do so in safe zone secured by our military. And this will allow us to complete our goal of destroying Hamas while enabling aid to reach the civilian population. We'll complete the construction of the first distribution zones.
I mean, he's just advocating for ethnic cleansing right now. He wants to displace everyone, put them into concentration camps run by American fucking corporate mercenaries and say that that's a humanitarian plan.
Coming days. Ultimately, we intend to have large safe zones in the south of Gaza, and the Palestinian population will...
Like, once again, he's advocated that there can never be a Palestinian state in this speech, and now he wants to pretend like his issue is with Hamas fighters? No, dude, you're literally advocating that there should never be another Palestinian state. You gave the game away already, and now you're trying to be like, oh, we're just concerned that Hamas fighters will get the food. Well, you consider every Palestinian a Hamas fighter.
Move there for their own safety while we conduct combat in other zones and receive humanitarian aid there without Hamas interference. In the meantime, we authorized letting trucks enter Gaza to provide for immediate needs. Yesterday, I think more than 100 trucks went in. More will come in today.
Why? Why would you do that? I mean, obviously, we know the answer. He's letting in these aid trucks. He's letting in a bare minimum of aid in order to avoid the allegations, like have some kind of thin veil of deniability of the allegations of genocide. That's why he's doing it, because he is concerned. He is deeply concerned that Western countries are recognizing the evil and atrocities Israel's doing in Gaza. So that's why he's allowing the smallest of a trickle of aid into Gaza. But why would he do that? He literally just said Hamas fighters sell the aid on the black market and then recruit more fighters against Israel, which is an insane thing to say. Like, is he living in some kind of video game where you can sell your resources and then just like spawn new troops whenever you have enough money to spawn new people? Like, is he playing Sid Meier's Civilization right now?
I tell you this, no army in the world has ever gone to such lengths to provide aid to the civilian population in the midst of intense combat. And Hamas, of course, opposes this. It shoots Palestinian civilians who want to leave for safe zones, and it shoots Palestinian civilians who want to prevent Hamas terrorists from looting the aid trucks intended for them. As for the hostages, we'll do every effort to secure them. I'm ready for a temporary ceasefire to get more out.
Dude, you had a ceasefire. You had a deal to secure them. What the fuck are you talking about? You literally broke the ceasefire in order to kill more Palestinians. You literally just said, like a few weeks ago, that the goal of this military campaign isn't to release the hostages, it's to ethnically cleanse Gaza. The idea that he's like even paying lip service to these hostages is so fucking insulting. Honestly, I understand the Israelis that are protesting this demon because, bro, he's literally just like making a mockery out of the people that are still in Gaza.
We demand, and you should demand, that all of our hostages be released, and released immediately. And so should every civilized country demand this. We're in an intense seven-front war that was launched against us by Iran and its proxies. Sometimes in war, accidents happen. One such incident happened the other day in Jenin, and thankfully no one was hurt. Our military has expressed its regret over the event because we don't target civilians or diplomats. We target terrorists. Exactly the opposite of Hamas. They target civilians, ours, and they hide behind.
Bro, Hamas killed a higher percentage. Like, the out of all of the people that Hamas killed, it was a higher percentage that were part of the military than Israel in any kind of Israeli operation. Hamas has a way better track record of killing soldiers. Like, the soldier to civilian ratio is way better for Hamas than it has ever been for Israel. And now you're going to sit here and say that we don't target civilians? You literally just did a fucking blockade. That's the definition of targeting civilians. Bro, Israel said that they were going to put civilians into safe zones and keep them on a caloric minimum. That's targeting civilians. You literally are...
Theirs. They do.
Dude, he's explicitly saying only civilians are going to be in these concentration camps and we're going to put them on a diet. That's targeting civilians. What are you talking about? You're explicitly saying, no, we're going to treat the Palestinian civilians like fucking human animals, like cattle, that we're going to herd around and keep them on a caloric minimum because we don't want them to be too happy or healthy. That's the targeting of... Oh my god, he's so fucking evil. What the fuck?
Use them as human shields. That's a double war crime. But I don't hear that coming from anyone of those countries that criticize Israel. For those who say that Israel stands alone, I say we're not alone. Justice stands with us. The truth stands with us. History stands with us. And so do countless people around the world who can tell the difference between right and wrong, between good and evil. I want to thank all of them. And I especially want to thank President Trump and the American people.
You want to thank justice and history?
For their forthright stand with Israel and with the Jewish people. Together we stand, together we'll triumph, and we'll see the victory of civilization over barbarism.
Okay, it is... Oh, and then one last little racist barb right there. We're going to see the civilization have a victory over barbarism. Well, I hope that's true, because I hope Israel doesn't win, and Israel is the most barbaric state right now. Okay, so we got that. Let's watch this. So we got the reaction from the Israeli Prime Minister, who was getting lit up in his comment section, by the way. His comment section was just roasting him. Let's see, what do we got? I don't know, these people are so stupid. Monster Netanyahu. You have killed more than 50,000 people and you are crying for one couple. Dog is better than you. As an Indian, we stand with Israel and Jews people. Free Palestine. Leave my tax money alone. Praying for Israel. Oh, a lot of Indians praying. We Indians pray for those Israeli brothers and sisters. Praying for Israel, praying for the IDF, praying for the hostages. Thanks, Mr. PM Netanyahu. Sir, keep fighting. Why are all of these people like incessantly sycophantic? Sir, keep fighting the enemies of the Jewish people, and those who love you will keep praying for you. I am from India. We extend solidarity with Israel only. Bro, is this just like a faction of like anti or Islamophobic Indians posting, like Israel posting right now? Free Palestine. Netanyahu and truth simply don't go together. Lies after lies and so on. Okay, so you have people that are like, please, Mr. Netanyahu, sir, I love you so much. Let me pray for you. And then there's people that are like, you are a fucking monster that has killed over 50,000 Palestinians. Indians supporting Israel is the funniest thing ever. It's not all Indians. It's a Hindutva fascist. Yeah, I mean, obviously India is a very big country with a diverse population, and but it does seem like there's a block of fascist pro-Israel Indians. So anyway, that are like, no, we only stand with Israel. Let's take a look. So we saw the prime minister, we saw the Israeli ambassador to the UN or to the US, and now we're going to see the president of the ADL. Okay, let's go.
Director of the Anti-Defamation League, Jonathan Greenblatt. Jonathan, thank you for being here. But I mean, what do you do with this? It is just horrific.
Look, first of all, I think all of our hearts break.
What do you do with this? What do you mean? Like, once again, just immediately, the framing of this is they're expecting, well, obviously it's the ADL, right, that does pro-Israel propaganda. The framing of this is the ADL needs to step in here and stop all of the anti-Israel propaganda because it's getting people killed. When do you ever ask someone, like, what do you do with this when a person got killed? Are you going to say, like for the Brian Thompson United Healthcare CEO getting shot, what do you do with this? And you talk to United Healthcare. Should you stop like overcharging people? Should you stop gouging people for their health insurance? Do you say to like Republicans whose a manifesto was just published and they're like, I fucking hate black people and I want to kill them. What do you do with this? Should you like tone down your violent rhetoric? Like, come on, what? Okay, well, let's just see his answer. What do you do with this?
Yes, right now is the CEO and National Director of the Anti-Defamation League, Jonathan Greenblatt. Jonathan, thank you for being here. But I mean, what do you do with this? It is just horrific.
Look, first of all, I think all of our hearts break for the young couple who was killed, for everyone in the Washington, D.C. community. I mean, think about it. These people, their only offense was going to the Jewish museum. They were killed because they attended a Jewish event. I mean, I gotta say, Kate, in many ways, this was inevitable. I mean, think about the data. We've talked about it before. ADL systematically tracks anti-Semitic incidents. We have seen a historic rise. 5 out of the last 6 years, we've reached record numbers. And look, 6 weeks ago, a man firebombed the governor's mansion in Harrisburg and tried to kill Josh Shapiro and his family. And that was 6 weeks ago. 6 months ago, the FBI detained a man with explosives in his car in Gainesville, Florida. He was going to head down to the AIPAC office to murder people. I mean, look, this happened just a few blocks from the U.S. Capitol. I mean, this is terrible.
Okay, so right off the bat, violence against someone who happens to be Jewish does not mean that it was an anti-Semitic incident. Like, for the same reason that violence against anyone isn't a hate crime against that group of people. And once again, like, the ADL considers criticism of Israel as anti-Semitic. And so they view like writing Free Palestine on a boulder, or if you're in a college campus and you're like chanting Free Palestine, that is considered like an anti-Semitic incident by the ADL. So yeah, you can't really take anything they say at face value.
Terrifying, and it's just got to stop.
I mean,
It's just got to stop. Firebombing someone's house, putting explosives in cars, yeah, that's not a good thing.
what does it, you talk...
That's a bold, brave conclusion. It's just got to stop. We should not be, we have to stop firebombing people's mansions.
From the U.S. Capitol. I mean, this is terrifying, and it's just got to stop.
I mean, what does it, you talk about the record number of incidents, and you put out this report. It's the highest number of anti-Semitic incidents that you guys have seen since, in what is it, the 46 years that ADL has even been tracked.
Bro, okay, we have to look this shit up. Josh Shapiro. Motive still undetermined in arson attack at Shapiro. Okay, so then it's not a fucking hate crime. Like, go fuck yourself. If it's undetermined, then it's not a hate crime. It's not up to me to decide if arson attack was a hate crime or not. If you don't have the fucking motive, then you can't say it's a hate crime. When was this article posted? April 21st, so about a month ago. Okay. Jewish Federations in Pennsylvania, April 14th, 2025. Pennsylvania Jewish Coalition, along with the Jewish Federations, the violent attack was condemned. The attacker admitted to harboring hatred toward Governor Shapiro. Wow, maybe because he's the governor of a state and is a public figure. While it has not been yet determined whether this act will be formally classified as a hate crime, the symbolism of attacking a residential space used for a Jewish religious observance by a Jewish governor on Passover cannot be overlooked. So he attacked during Passover. He attacked his house during Passover. The individual also reportedly expressed political resentment and publicly claimed to harbor ill will towards the government. Bro, what? Citing self-described economic frustrations. So... What? So he's so anti-Semitic that he didn't even say it was because he's Jewish, and he said it's because he doesn't like the government? What the fuck is wrong with these people? Dude, how are people comparing this shit? Like, we have fucking, like, anti-government that's one of the pride and joys of the U.S. That's the thing that the U.S. can boast the most about. Anti-government nut jobs committing violent acts against the government. And they're trying to compare that to an anti-Semitic pogrom? Are you fucking kidding me? Especially given the long history of anti-Semitic pogroms on the Passover holiday, raises serious concerns and pain for our community. So nothing the guy said was anti-Semitic. Nothing that the guy posted online was anti-Semitic. Even though you can find a plethora of anti-Semitism online, they can't even post to any anti-Semitic posts that they can't even point to any anti-Semitic posts that the person posted. But because it was on Passover, and Josh Shapiro happens to be Jewish, then they're saying it's anti-Semitic. Give me a fucking break. I mean, yeah, once again, if this guy's saying that that's an anti-Semitic incident, then he's just lying. There's no evidence of that whatsoever.
Anti-Semitic incidents. But are they also becoming more violent? I mean, two people are dead this morning.
That's a great point. So yes, they are becoming more violent. We've seen a rise in harassment and vandalism, but is the violence that it almost seems inevitable, Kate. Like, look.
Okay, so then you have no evidence that these anti-Semitic actions, and once again, you have no evidence that like half of the things you listed were due to anti-Semitism, when there's literally anti-Semitism rising from the conservatives and like fucking attacks happening all the time, violent anti-Semitic rhetoric coming from conservatives. We'll examine that in a little bit. And you're like, is it becoming more violent? Yes, it's becoming more violent. We've seen a rise in harassment, and violence is inevitable. So then you have no evidence that it's becoming more violent. You're just saying that it hasn't become violent, but it is inevitable that it does. Why would you say yes to that? Say no, we have no evidence of that right now.
Look, I'm angry today. I'm angry because we have been saying this. You know, when people scream lies or protesters about the Jewish people or the Jewish state, accuse us of being Zionists and committing genocide, these lies have consequences.
What?
Saying that,
Bro, this guy's angry right now. This guy has no emotions whatsoever. He's a soulless husk of a human being. Look at him. This is all a PR spin for him.
Or violent. I mean, two people are dead this morning.
That's a great.
I mean, this is a fluff interview.
So yes, they are becoming more violent. We've seen a rise in harassment and vandalism, but it's the violence that it almost seems inevitable, Kate. Like, look, I'm angry today. I'm angry because we have been saying this. You know, when people scream lies or protesters about the Jewish people or the Jewish state.
So just once again, look at this like subtle conflation that he does, this sleight of hand. He says, when people lie, that when people that are protesters lie about the Jewish people, and they're like, what are you talking about? Who's lying about the Jewish people? And then he says, or the Jewish state, about that they're doing genocide. Okay, well, is it the Jewish people? Or is it the fucking rogue genocidal state of Israel that's carrying out a genocide? Because one is rightly condemned and criticized, and the other has like the connection of the Jewish people to the state of Israel only exists by Zionists. It only exists so far as Zionists insist that it exists. And people like Hassan are doing everything in their power to be like, Israel's horrible. Don't believe Zionists when they say that Israel represents all Jewish people. Bro, oh my God, I go back to Ethan Klein. He's such a fucking moron. He's like, why? Israel has never said that it represents all Jewish people. It just did. It just said the Jewish state represents Jewish people. Like, not it, okay, to be fair. The ADL, just a small organization, the ADL said that.
It almost seems inevitable, Kate. Like, look, I'm angry today. I'm angry because we have been saying this. You know, when people scream lies or protesters about the Jewish people or the Jewish state, accuse us of being Zionists and committing genocide, these lies have consequences. And repeating them and normalizing them. Those who tell us that anti-Zionism is a legitimate political ideology, it's not. Those who say that chanting intifada revolution is legitimate, it's not. And so when you call for violence, we shouldn't be surprised when violence actually ensues.
Are you going to self-reflect on that at all and understand how if people are calling for violence against Palestinians, then you shouldn't be surprised if violence, is reflects back upon you? Are you going to self-reflect upon that statement even the tiniest bit?
And now we've lost two beautiful young people as a result, and it's a tragedy for the whole.
That's code for white people.
Whole country.
There is a question if there was any security failure, if this person was on anyone's radar. That I don't think is yet to know unless you've heard anything.
Well,
but what do you I mean, have you heard anything?
Well, look, the AD.
Oh my God. Okay, so once again, I said this is a fluff piece. This is a hand job on air that we're seeing, a metaphorical filleting of this guy. So what she's doing now is saying we should be writing lists of people that are critical of Israel online. We should be making lists of them, because if we don't have lists, that's actually a security failure. We should know that this person harbored distaste towards the government of Israel, and that's on us. It's not going to happen again. We're going to crack down way harder against people criticizing the state of Israel.
Center on Extremism monitors extremist groups like the Party of Socialism and Liberation, or PSL, that this man was associated with. He was associated with another, that is an anti-capitalist, anti-Western, and anti-Zionist group, which regularly employs...
Oh no, the violence. Being against three different imperialist ideologies. The violence of being against that. We must throw him in prison. An extremely violent, radical individual. He's against Zionism. He's against genocide. He's against the Western imperialism. He's against capitalism. Oh no.
Employs anti-Semitic rhetoric. So we know PSL. And look, there are extremists on all sides. The fringes seem to be incredibly empowered today. But all of us need to call it out. I'm thinking about the New York Times.
Bro, you literally defend genocide. You're an extremist. What the fuck? Like, the gaslighting is off the charts.
Doing a gauzy profile a few weeks ago of this gamer, Hassan Piker, who regularly employs...
What? Okay, so this is the reason why I watched this interview. I just saw the clip. Like, I was not expecting this to be the context. So the guy's like, he's a member of the PSL, and Hassan Piker needs to be put in prison or something.
The fringes seem to be incredibly empowered today. But all of us need to call it out. I'm thinking about the New York Times doing a gauzy profile a few weeks ago of this gamer, Hassan Piker, who regularly employs awful genocidal rhetoric against Jewish people in the Jewish state. Like, extremists...
Okay, so, like, dude, how the fuck can Ethan sit there and be like, Israel has never claimed to represent all Jewish people, when now Netanyahu's like, saying Free Palestine is today's Hail Hitler, and the line seems to be criticizing Jewish people and the Jewish state. It's literally, like, in that sentence, it's a sleight of hand conflation between Jewish people and Israel. Like, that's the conflation they're doing. Oh my god. Like, why am I even litigating this again? Ethan's so fucking dumb. Okay, but, so yeah, Hassan Piker says anti-Semitic things on a daily basis, and he's calling for the violence of Jewish people, according to Greenblatt.
Rhetoric against Jewish people in the Jewish state. Like,
and he's a gamer.
Extremists should not be empowered. People who spout prejudice should not be platformed. This is a moment when we need to look ourselves in the mirror and say, we've got to stop this because the consequences are deadly.
You know, because reality is security is already heightened at Jewish institutions, synagogues, all over the place.
Then why the fuck would you say, is it a security concern? Holy fucking shit, dude. Holy shit. They give the game away. They're literally, like, oh my god. She literally says, like, oh, should this person have been on a list somewhere? And she's like, is there a security concern? And he's like, yes, he should have been on a list. We know that there's like violent, radical, anti-Semitic rhetoric coming from leftists. And then the woman's like, oh, yeah, like, that's what I'm talking about, because there was security at the convention. So you just set him up in order to be like, yeah, we need to, like, attack leftists that are being too radical. Oh my god, they just give the game away.
Go into a synagogue, you're going through magnetometer, and you're walking past police, which we always thank them for their time. Yeah. How much more secure are all these Jewish institutions going to have to get? But,
think about that. Last year we had more than 1,700 incidents at Jewish institutions, Kate. More than 1,700. Every Jewish institution has metal detectors, bulletproof glass, like police presence. It's not normal. We shouldn't normalize it. We've got to do something before it gets even worse.
And do what? Do what? Have the gamer Hassan Piker stop being so anti-Semitic? I mean, guys, so they don't care about anti-Semitism. They care about people advocating for a free Palestine. That's what they care about. Okay, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Because obviously Hassan's not anti-Semitic. He just shows how fucking horrible Israel is, and Israel would rather have someone like Candace Owens, who actually is anti-Semitic, but she's like a conservative, and they know conservatives support Israel more, than someone who as an actual like outspoken anti-Zionist and knows what they're talking about, and they say that is the highest form of anti-Semitism. So I'm like, okay, everyone always says Candace Owens is an anti-Semitic. Let me go see her channel. How anti-Semitic can she really be? The first thing on her channel, I'm just asking questions about the Daily Wire, and the thumbnail is Christ is King. Are you fucking kidding me? She is so anti-Semitic. It's insane. It's insane how anti-Semitic she is. What the hell? What the hell is this? She interviewed Harvey Weinstein? What? Why? Why would she interview Harvey Weinstein on her channel? Harvey Speaks? This is a recurring segment she has? Why would she do this? Bro, oh my god. Okay, what else did I see? Harvey Speaks. Why would she interview Harvey Weinstein? Theo Vaughn Speaks Out, big names missing. There was one other thing that I saw like a while ago. It was so funny. Oh yeah, this one. Compromise, RFK Jr. and Hollywood Exposed. Like, I think this was the other thing that I was looking at where it's like insanely anti-Semitic, where she's just like RFK Jr.'s being controlled by the Jews. Like, Candace Owens is actually fucking crazily anti-Semitic.
We're running just a couple of minutes late today because I had my last ultrasound before the due date. It's very exciting. Just a little over 3 weeks before I finally get to meet him. It's just the best time, just planning and just imagining the baby's face. Anyways, what do I have today for you guys in the news? Well, I had a fantastic conversation with Jillian Michaels. We are not traditionally on the same side of the spectrum. What does this mean? Was House and Habit right? Am I pivoting my brand? Also, I spoke with Howie Mandel. I'm going to tell you guys about that. But first and foremost, a mystery
Oh
of the
my
day.
god, Howie Mandel spoke with Candace Owens? That's crazy.
Question, if you will. Do you guys know who John J. Sullivan is from Malibu, California? John J. Sullivan. What about John J. Sullivan Sr.? Yeah, you actually do know him. I'm going to remind you. I'm going to tell you how you know him. I'm totally going to blow your mind and send you down another unnecessary rabbit hole. So let's get started. And while from the press every single day, like everybody's working on an article about Candace Owens pivoting. Everyone from obviously House and Habit's Jessica Reed Krause, who we're going to talk about a little bit because she was interestingly enough with none other than Bibi Netanyahu yesterday at the White House. Also, of course, The Cut, that woman had the same kind of an article, hit piece about me, to NBC, all using the exact same language. And like I said, working on the same sort of story about me. But actually, I haven't changed any of my opinions. Obviously, if you guys are listening to the show, I have the same perspectives on BLM, the Me Too movement. I've brought into those opinions. Vaccines haven't changed, same person. So I'm wondering where exactly did the pivot occur? And I'm thinking about it. I'm open to the idea of it. And like I said, I did do Howie Mandel's show the other day, as well as Jillian Michaels. And I'll show you some of those fun clips. And I've realized at least this. I've definitely changed. I think my positions have not moved, but I'm completely done. I mean, totally and completely done with the left versus right game in politics, because it is now just so abundantly obvious that there is something much more sinister that is happening. When we elect politicians, they're on a platform, they say this, they perform, they promise us this is going to—
Bro, holy shit. Kyle Kalinski's on this. Candace Owens snuggles up to pervert criminal Harvey Weinstein. Dude, Kyle's on point.
The mandate, I'm going to clean up DC. And then we send them to DC and something happens. Something magical happens. And suddenly that magical thing is that really nothing they said they were going to do happens. The world really is becoming a stage. Maybe it always was a stage. And like I said, it doesn't matter who you elect. So no, there's no pivot. Like, I wish it was Kamala Harris. No, okay? It does not matter who you elect. It seems to be the same thing that we see over and over again. Politicians selling out the people that voted for them. I think Dave Smith, you guys know I love The Problem with Dave Smith, is his podcast, summed it up really well when he looked at just the last 30 days of politics and said this. Take a listen.
Oh my God.
I couldn't imagine whoever else the director of national intelligence was going to be being better than Tulsi Gabbard. I couldn't imagine whoever the head of the FBI being better than Kash Patel, or whoever the health secretary being better than Bobby Kennedy. But at the same time, you know, you got Tulsi.
Bro, this is the fucking libertarian that people point to as like someone who's reasonable on politics and actually has convictions.
You know, cheering on leveling an apartment building. Literally, as they're saying to him, hey, we traced Missile Guy back to his apartment building where his girlfriend lives. So we leveled the building, and she's sending like thumbs up emojis and saying, job well done, team. Every time I hear from Kash Patel lately, it's never about the criminals in government anymore. This guy was on a goddamn media tour for 2 years. Everything he ever said was that there's all these criminals in the FBI. We got to get these people who committed all these heinous crimes against.
Oh my God, I don't
was
care.
so inspired by this man. So many people were, obviously, because he was a major piece of the puzzle in terms of bringing people to the center, which needed to happen. It needed to happen that all of us were brought towards the center so that we could recognize where the real evil exists, right? And it's not left versus right. It's not Republican versus Democrat. It's whatever the hell is going on in D.C. versus the rest of us. And so RFK Jr. emerges as this candidate, and the moms, oh my gosh, did he seize us, right? Because...
Okay, anyway. Live with Ian Carroll, Cruel Summer. Where is the fucking why everyone in Hollywood is insane? Where was the fucking Daily Wire? Oh yeah, this is the other one I saw. Who's controlling RFK Jr.? So, like, obviously being like, oh, the Jews are controlling RFK.
There are a lot of people who watch me internationally, and sometimes I want to make sure that we're not way too in the details and it still makes sense to you, because there are very severe implications of what's happening in America, obviously. We used that caption, One Nation Under Blackmail, for a reason. We've been speaking a lot about blackmail on the show as we go through the JFK files. And yesterday we left off, and I was telling you about this mommy blogger, and some of you guys didn't understand why we were getting into this. You thought she was just some jealous woman, middle-aged woman who went a little nutty, attacking me for inexplicable reasons. We explained to you that her name is Jessica Reed Krause. She has 4 children, and I had assumed...
Candace Owens on AIPAC and Israel's influence on America. So anyway, this one, Candace Owens is basically like, the only position I changed on was Israel, and now, like, Israel's coming after me. So obviously being like, the Jews control the media, and they don't like it when I criticize Jewish people.
Like Israel and media, right? But do you think that it's just capitalism? Like, don't you think a lot of times it's just business, and that's how business works, is that they're, like, it's one of the side effects of capitalism.
If that were the case, so the reason why this is different is because Israel is actually the exception. They are the only country that's allowed to lobby Americans. Like, everyone else has to register as a foreign agent under FARA.
Like with AIPAC or whatever?
Yeah, so AIPAC, the backstory, by the way, before JFK got shot, he was fighting...
Yeah, and just AIPAC is run by Americans. It's not run by Israelis. Israel doesn't control America. America has a vested interest in maintaining its Israel project. That's the whole idea. So even just saying Israel controls Americans, that is like anti-Semitic.
AIPAC. They were previously called, I'm blanking on this, you can look it up. And he was literally saying you have to register under the Foreign Act.
Is that true? Let's look
1,000% true, and you should look it up. We should fact check that live. He was fighting with what is today known as AIPAC. Was renamed AZCPA. I don't know what that stood for.
In 1959, AZCPA was renamed AIPAC, and American Israel Public Affairs Committee, reflecting a broader membership and mission.
Yeah, so JFK told them that they had to register under FARA. And so American Zionist Council, that's exactly what it was called.
Okay, American Zionist Council was a pro-Israel lobby in the United States founded in 1949. It represented 9 nationwide Zionist organizations in matters related
to... See at the bottom there?
Yeah, so it's nationwide Zionist organizations. It's American Zionists. It's run by Americans. It's not run by Israelis.
In 1962, President, look at the last paragraph. In 1962, yeah.
President John F. Kennedy and his brother Bobby, as a U.S. Attorney General, forced the AZC to register as a foreign agent. In doing so, they were barred from making monetary contributions to U.S. officials. Who was barred? AZC?
Yeah, so AIPAC, for lack of a better term. They were called AZC back then. But continued to send out newsletters and hold events with a nonprofit tax exemption. Mm-hmm. And then what happened was he was shot. So he literally, like, they were writing him letters. You can find this. This is all, like, this is available information. And he was like, you need to register, you need to register, you need to register. And then we told you to register. Why are you not registering? This makes no sense. And then AIPAC got lucky because he got shot and killed.
What also you could, like...
So they are the reason I'm bringing this up is not to further conspiracy theories.
Wait, what? Did I miss that? Did she just say that, like, the reason JFK was killed was because he wanted to make AIPAC register as, like, a foreign influence on American politics?
He literally, like, they were writing him letters. You can find this. This is all, like, this is available information. And he was like, you need to register, you need to register, you need to register. And then we told you to register. Why are you not registering? This makes no sense. And then AIPAC got lucky because he got shot and killed.
What also you could, like...
So they are the reason I'm bringing this up is not to further conspiracy theories. They're the only country that's allowed to lobby Americans that are not registered under the FARA Act. And so when you see these people...
What act?
FARA. So that's like if you're a foreign agent, you have to basically register, your communications are monitored, all of this stuff. But for whatever reason, Israel is an exception to this. And the reason is because JFK got shot. Because otherwise they would have been under this. So that is the reason that they're allowed to do this. And so, when this, and then of course we're not allowed to read the files, but leading up to his death, he was having arguments with the Prime Minister, Ben Gurion. That's a fact, another fact. He was having heated arguments with Ben Gurion, and then the problem, look it up. JFK
the Foreign Agents Registration Act is a U.S. law that requires people and entities working on behalf of foreign governments to register.
Why are they using the AI overview? Okay, anyway, so yeah, obviously Candace Owens is like, Israel controls America, Israel is responsible for killing JFK, and she'd probably say the Jews are responsible for doing that. The same reason why she's like, Hollywood is controlled by the Jews. But anyway, we can watch more of this, but I just think it's so funny I think it's so funny that people are talking about Hassan Piker is responsible for spreading anti-Semitism and is being against the Jewish people when he advocates for a free Palestine. Candace Owens doesn't give a fuck about Palestine. All she cares about is getting off her like anti-Semitic conspiracy theories on as many platforms as possible. But anyway, it is funny. Who's controlling RFK Jr.? Let's watch this one. Where's the fucking Oh yeah, this one. I'm just asking questions about the Daily Wire. Come on, this has to be some good stuff.
All right, guys, happy Thursday, and I am so sorry that we are late. I obviously have been very honest with you about what's going on. I wanted to at first calm myself down, make sure that I approached this topic quite
Late a lot. Getting a million views on all of these streams.
Referring to me as anti-Semitic, trying to...
Oh shit, she comes in hot.
Okay, so let's start in the past. Obviously, today I was actually going to speak to you about Hugh Jackman being drafted into the Blake Lively lawsuit, but I'm glad that we have pivoted and it's Lent season. And for whatever reason, this just seems to happen again during Lent season as it did last year. So for those of you that are new to my podcast, and everybody I guess is new to my independent podcast, last year, almost exactly a year, I was fired from the Daily Wire. I think it was March 22nd or March 23rd. And after we agreed to part ways, within 24 hours, it might have been 48 hours, Andrew Klavan of the Daily Wire released a 1-hour video essentially accusing me of many things, but referring to me as anti-Semitic, trying to link me to Nick Fuentes. There was no link between me and Nick Fuentes, but the ADL and Andrew Klavan tried to sort of establish one in his video, and they did this via Twitter, and then said that...
Wait, was Andrew Klavan partnered with the ADL? Was he working with the ADL? Bruh, this is hilarious.
Most egregious thing that I had done was used Christ is King against a Jew. And that is just completely not factual. I've never once uttered that phrase at a Jew. At the time that this happened in March, I had not tweeted that phrase, I don't believe, since the prior November is what he was referring to. And I certainly did not tweet it at any Jew. And so an entire scandal was born overnight, really, when people just began going, what is this? Obviously, it's Easter week, and we are having somebody essentially try to make it sound as though saying the phrase Christ is King is derogatory in a circumstance.
Bro, I fucking love the Christian persecution complexes where they're like, I can't say Christ is King on Easter. I'm a victim. While she's basically like inciting anti-Semitism against the people that employed her. I mean, holy shit. I guess you could say she just exposed like the anti-Semitism in the viewer base of the Daily Wire, because the Daily Wire was consumed mostly by anti-Semitic Christian fundamentalists, and yeah, they're not the biggest fan of Jews. And so when Candace Owens is like, yeah, Christ is King, if you guys want more content like this, then follow me, I'm out of here, you can say that she did the Daily Wire a favor.
If you utter it at a Jew, and yet that circumstance had not happened. And I take questions and people that attack my faith or attack the reason that I have said something very seriously. I take it very seriously. And in the context that I had used the phrase Christ is King was perfectly acceptable. The prior November, I tweeted it because the media was trying to get me to engage in an attack against my colleague, and I decided to abstain. And I said, blessed are the peacemakers. And I thought that I was choosing peace in that moment. And indeed, that certainly backfired. Anyways, why are we speaking about this today? Well, like I said, many of you have noticed that there has just sort of been these increasing, if you want to call it commentary that is coming from Daily Wire management, Daily Wire commentators regarding things that I've said, positions that I have, or just appearances that I am making. And, you know, I would like to really leave the Daily Wire in the rearview mirror, which is why when I covered these statements last week, when I went on Theo Von's podcast and Ian Carroll went on Joe Rogan's podcast on the same day, and some people, I would say a small minority, were apoplectic, even though I thought that the conversation was really funny. And I think also illuminating for a lot of people who are getting to see me as opposed to having me being caricatured by the media, just being able to see what I believe in, like what I believe in as a Christian. Obviously, that is where I stand.
Okay, what do you believe in? Come on.
It's the only Jewish scapegoat for...
Yesterday was a terrible day for American Jews. What is this? What was this posted? This was March 6, 2025. Embraced by so many prominent... Wait, shit, I missed the context of this.
That Jeremy wrote, and even though my name was not explicitly used, I believe some people in that space genuinely believe that it is sadder if an Israeli child dies than if a Palestinian child dies. Irrespective, I will just re-up that tweet again for you that Jeremy wrote, and even though my name was not explicitly used, there were only 2 podcasts that went out that day on major platforms, Theo Von and Joe Rogan, and this was his tweet. Yesterday was a terrible day for American Jews. The embrace by so many prominent voices of demented, conspiratorial, anti-Jewish voices is one of the saddest, most alarming events in my lifetime. This way lies madness, and worse than madness. Do not let the times cost you your soul. Audience capture and unchecked tribalism are tools of the devil. Paranoia and revisionism are too. Even if they really are out to get you, Heck, even a righteous cause can lead us to evil if we don't guard our hearts in the quest. The wicked often prosper, and the temptation to prosper often tempts us.
Bro, I love how conservative religious fundamentalists just live in Warhammer 40k. They're just like, if you believe in something too hard, then you're gonna get possessed by the devil. You're opening yourself up to sin, and you're like, even a righteous quest can lead us to evil if we don't guard our hearts in the quest. You always must have your hearts guarded against every single possible temptation that you could stumble upon towards your road for righteousness. It's so ridiculous. These people are so funny. So what? This was in response to Candace Owens' appearance on Theo Von, where she's like, the Jews killed JFK.
To join them. But only God offers the richness of salvation, and he already came for us, the only Jewish scapegoat for our sin and fear. Leave the rest of them alone. And my response to this was essentially, I believe in the free markets. Like, if you want more of that, I said, follow Jeremy Boring, follow Daily Wire, sign up for the Daily Wire if you agree with that perspective. What else can I say? There's really not much to say about that. Then yesterday, Ben Shapiro retweeted an article written by Christopher Rufo. The article was entitled The Anti-Semitic Influencer Problem. And embedded in this article, once again, was referring to me as the anti-Semitic influencer who...
Bro, that's another thing. I mean, Kanye West is coming out and being like, hail Hitler, Hitler's awesome, I love Hitler, and Jews fucking suck, I want to, like, kill all of the Jews. And then the president of the ADL comes out and is like, anti-Semite Hassan Piker just makes me extremely sad, and he makes violence against Jewish people inevitable. Anti-Semitic gamer Hassan Piker is just, like, inciting violence against Jewish people. Bro, what is happening here? Like, I don't think people are buying it anymore. I really don't think people are buying it. Let's take a look. What are the comments on this? Oh, the comments are turned off. Okay. The comments are off. Does the ADL shut off their comments too?
A new report by the...
Oh, on Morning Joe. Oh, the comments are off on the ADL. ADL CEO Jonathan Greenblatt on dangerous surge in anti-Semitism. This was 4 years ago.
That conflict and crisis is sparking hate-filled violence here in America.
Jonathan Greenblatt. I want to find one interview where the comments are not turned off. I just don't think people are buying this shit anymore. Like, most people aren't anti-Semitic, but like, when you fucking say that advocating that free Palestine equals hail Hitler, that sets off people's bullshit meter. Jonathan Greenblatt. Okay, come on. Something more recent. He did a series of interviews. Come on, give me something more recent. Can I filter this by date? Filter. Upload date. 7 hours ago. I am Blakely. Head of the ADL, hey, 3 weeks ago. Okay, let's just search ADL. ADL CEO, ADL reacts to killings. All right, what do we got here?
All right, as we've been reporting, federal authorities are investigating the deadly shooting.
This happened the same day IDF shoot at diplomats and at the same time releases a manifesto. Timing is too convenient. Free America from the APAC. You reap what you sow. Free America equals protect First Amendment. Daily reminder to all Dems. This is day 122 of President Trump's triumphant return to the presidency. This happened in America. What the fuck? Why is it barely being talked about? What is wrong with DC? What? Barely being talked about? Time to relocate the capital to Oklahoma or Nebraska? What? Okay, that might be the best take that I've seen on this. Why? Do they even know how to read in Oklahoma or Nebraska? Okay, fair point. So yeah, I think there's a reason the comment section is turned off. It's because the people listening to Netanyahu, it's the people listening to the ADL aren't really buying the bullshit that saying free Palestine equals violence against Jewish people. I don't think they're really buying that anymore. And then you have people like Candace Owens just being like, Jews killed a president and Israel is controlling America and Israel is controlled by Jews. I got fired by a bunch of Jewish people. You have people like Kanye West, who has weird ties with Candace Owens, by the way. Kanye, he got basically manipulated by Candace Owens' husband to buy the platform Parler. And then he's like going off about anti-Semitic, or he is being anti-Semitic, and he's going off about how the Jews are all horrible and Hitler was awesome. And you don't hear a fucking peep out of Netanyahu or the ADL about the anti-Semitism coming from these people. But when two people get killed, it's Hassan Piker's fault on it. This guy's Hassan smears could backfire big time. So you know what I want to do? I want to go to Instagram. I want to search up a small profile called H3H3 Productions. I want to take a look at what has been posted on it. Reminder, killing random Israelis is the obvious and inevitable conclusion of this type of rhetoric. So I'm not going to really trust what Ethan has to say on inevitability, because he said Israel doing a genocide was the inevitable response to October 7th happening. Okay. Let's see what he has to say.
Anyone else in the world to stop the genocide. We are living in the belly of the beast. We have direct geographical, physical access to the politicians, the propagandists, the weapons companies, and the supply chains that are facilitating this genocide. Protesting is great. We should keep doing that. But also, I feel like we have to be honest with ourselves. 17 months in, and what is protesting actually accomplished? Raising awareness, sure. Divestment, yeah, in some places. But really, politically, materially, nothing. Israel just killed the most children in its history in a single night with total impunity, with a deafening silence among the Western media. If we want this genocide to stop, it's time to escalate. That's all I'm saying. So anyways, yes.
I think
okay, so just once again, the escalate was like call people out on their bullshit. Oh, remember this. Also, I loved the part when Noah Sampson said
people living
Israeli
in the West
embassy
have the most power
workers
over...
need to be escalated against.
I think this will never happen, but in a totally just world.
Or even just Israeli worker. Dude, oh my God. So Ethan Collette's actually just being like, Hassan and everyone else is calling for violence against Jews.
Any kind of, regardless of your background, any kind of fucking...
what did he say?
People living in the West have the most power.
Killing random Israelis is the obvious and inevitable conclusion of this type of... Were those people Israelis? I thought they were Americans.
I think this will never happen, but in a totally just world, any kind of, regardless of your background, any kind of fucking Zionist tendency should be treated in the same way as being a fucking rabid neo-Nazi. And you shouldn't even let someone be the fucking local dog catcher as Felix was posting, if they've ever exhibited any sort of positive feelings about the state of Israel.
I love the part where Hassan's like, you should kill Nazis. If you see a Nazi in the street, you should gun them down. Oh wait, he didn't say that? So then what is the fucking point of this? Did Hassan say you shouldn't, did this person say, oh yeah, I'm not going to vote for these people to be part of my local government because they've exhibited tendencies that supported a genocidal fascist state in the past? Or did the guy shoot them? Did he do what Hassan said to do, or did he shoot them? Oh my God. Ethan's actually having he's having like a mental health crisis, I think.
Bernie Sanders is...
Oh my God.
He has this like old labor Zionist framework, I think, that is just utterly ridiculous. And that is something that he hasn't been able to shake away.
Several minutes later in the same conversation.
And if there is something that you should preach, it's that these people are ultimately fucking useless, and you're gonna have to do shit yourself.
Yeah,
So what does that look like?
Here's the thing. I
heard of
I understand.
Mario's brother.
What?
Sorry, go ahead, Hassan.
No, I understand that.
Okay, so just once again, advocating for violence. Killing random citizens doesn't do anything. What do we got here? As you watch Hassan fans and Twitter leftists celebrate the murder of two innocent Israelis. Okay. Oh, okay. Come on. Bro, Twitter leftists. Twitter. Also, first of all, it's X, Ethan. Come on, get it right. It's X. Where's Hassan? Hassan Paika? I want to see all of, oh my god, no, I'm not going to get, I want to see all of the leftists that are celebrating this. 2 Israeli embassy officials get killed, and Ethan Klein predictably moves the goalpost to make the moment about himself. Where are they? LMFAO, no way are you criticizing Ethan about from the comfort of his mansion. Now you're anti-mansion. H3 needs more respect. All of these are just like H3 defenders attacking Hassan. You deserve to be in prison. Where? Okay, so where are all of the Twitter leftists celebrating this? Was there who's a Twitter leftist that's celebrating this? Was Noah Samson on there? Israel is an apartheid state doing live streamed genocide. Okay, where are all of the Twitter leftists celebrating this? In Hassan's replies, oh, Nicholas Diorio. Thank you, Hassan, for not condemning the attack yesterday on 2 innocent Jews. Sue them for defamation. You have everything you need to do it. Even if you don't need the money, do it to clear your name. You said in your own debate with Ethan that you call out people like Candace Owens and genuine anti-Semites, but I've never seen you do it. Jank put out a good statement. Mehdi Hassan put out a great statement. Ilan just did. Oh, wow. Turkish, Muslim, I guess all Muslims. Why is that hard for you? So if you're Muslim, you need to put out a statement condemning this, according to this guy. Free Palestine. Oh, free, is that celebrating it? So you and your horse-loving uncle are fair game for our meat? Bro, what the fuck? This is disgusting shit. All of this is literally just like being Islamophobic as fuck against Hassan. Bro, it never was this way here. I never heard a story where 2 Jews were gunned down because they were Jews in this country. Imagine calling the only Jew, I mean, apparently one of them wasn't even Jewish. They were gunned down because of, I guess, their association with Israel. Imagine calling the only Jewish state an apartheid genocidal regime, then pretending you're the one protecting Jews by doing it. Bro, oh my god. People don't like Israel because it's doing genocide, right? When you say that, no, Israel has nothing to do with Jews, that is definitionally a protection of Jewish people. You're like, no. Don't blame Jews. Don't blame American Jews. Don't even blame Israeli Jews. Just blame the Israeli fascists for doing this shit. That's trying to protect Jewish people. People don't like Israel, not because of it's Jews that live in Israel. People don't like Israel because of the fascism and the colonization and genocide that Israel is doing. Okay, so I can't really find any of this. 1, 2, blue guy coming for you. I think this is getting to a point where we might be safer in Turkey. Bro, you gotta sue him, you coward. Okay, whatever. So Ethan's just like hallucinating. As you watch Hassan fans and Twitter leftists celebrate the murder of 2 innocent Israelis, understand that me and Ela are just as valid targets to them. So they didn't celebrate the murder of those Israelis, and they never advocated for the murder of random Israelis. They never even advocate, like, obviously they didn't advocate for the murder of Israelis. I don't know if those people were Israelis. They didn't advocate for the murder of 2 random Jewish people. Let me see if I can do an Ethan Klein impression. I've known this as people like Hassan and iDubbbz lecture me about hallucinating threats. I knew this was the moment I ended leftovers. Man, how does he talk? He kind of has like a simultaneously nasally but like gravelly voice. I've ended leftovers. Why would I want to be a member of a community? That's not a good impression at all. Why would I want to be a member of a community that would literally cheer on my death? There is a toxic, violent, and nihilistic extremism brewing on the left, and it should scare all of us. Brewing? I thought you said it was already out on the left. Okay, so no one would cheer on your death. No one's advocating for you to be killed. Like, people are literally like, dude, you're supporting a genocide. You should stop it.
Smart move on not covering current events, by the way. You mean specific current events or in general? Because, yeah, I think...
Like, bro, this is literally just a crash out to be like, oh, this person killed 2 people. Let me go through like months of footage to blame leftists for encouraging this murder to happen. And the closest you can find is Noah being like, we have to escalate actions against politicians, and Hassan saying, you shouldn't elect fascists into government. That's the closest you can find to that. I mean, Ethan advocated for violence against Nazis. He's advocated for violence against Ethan advocated for violence against citizens when he said that the West Bank settlers are valid military targets. But hey, dude, you're the one advocating for more violence than these people are. They're literally just like, oh, we should use political pressure to not give Zionist power, or to make politicians feel bad about supporting Israel. Yeah, like I'm still waiting for the advocacy of violence from these people.
Two pro-peace Jews dead. Read what they were saying. Pro-peace is crazy.
Okay. I don't really care what they were saying, to be honest. According to a witness, the event held at the Jewish Museum focused on humanitarian aid, raising questions such as, how can we meaningfully help both the people of Gaza and those of Israel? How can we bring Muslims, Jews, and Christians together to work side by side and support innocent people? Shouldn't both Israeli and Palestinian protesters support this kind of initiative? It's devastating bright young people who are working to help build a better world. Okay, once again, I really don't give a fuck of who they are. Yeah, they were killed. Even if they were raging Zionists and were completely genocidal, I don't think their deaths would be justified. So, ironically, Ethan posting this shit saying that, oh no, they were actually like such good, wholesome, and loving people. What are you saying? If they weren't, then their deaths would have been justified for you? And yeah, if we want to get into the nitty gritty, working like alongside Israel to help like bring humanitarian aid in, like what is this event where we're trying to bring more humanitarian aid into Gaza? Right now, the only thing people should be worried about is protesting Israel and increasing the pressure on Israel right now, because right now Israel is the only group that's preventing aid from reaching the people of Gaza. Support innocent people, yeah, like support Palestinians, because there are no innocent people in Gaza, according to people like Netanyahu. Oh, more stuff about how she was like these people were peaceful doves. Sarah Milgram, 26, was a passionate peace activist. She held a master's in international studies from American University, and a second master's in natural resources and sustainable development from the UN University for Peace. At the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C., she dedicated her work to building a future where Israelis and Palestinians could live side by side in peace and dignity. Two-state solution. She also volunteered with Tech to Peace, an organization that brings together young Israelis and Palestinians to foster dialogue, understanding, and reconciliation. When Elias Rodriguez shot her simply because she was Jewish, he murdered not a bright young woman, but the very kind of person our world so desperately needs. Someone working tirelessly to create a more peaceful, just, and shared future for all. May her memory be a blessing. I mean, once again, what the fuck is this shit? If she was a worse person, if she didn't hold 2 master's degrees, then we shouldn't be as sad about her getting killed? Like, come the fuck on. What are we doing here? I'm an ardent believer in the vision that was outlined in the Abraham Accords, and believe that expanding the circle of peace with our Arab neighbors and pursuing regional cooperation is in the best interest of the state of Israel and the Middle East as a whole. To this end, I advocate for interfaith dialogue and intercultural understanding. This is what Yaron Lachinsky wrote on LinkedIn before he was murdered last night. Well, the Abraham Accords were not pro-Palestinian. They basically, like, tried to increase relationships with other Arab states by cutting out Palestine. Bilateral agreements on Arab-Israeli normalization signed between Israel and the UAE and between Israel and Bahrain on September 15, 2020, mediated by the US. The announcement of August 13th The Emirates and Bahrain recognize Israel's sovereignty, enabling the establishment of full diplomatic relations. Israel's initial agreement with the UAE marked the first instance of Israel establishing diplomatic relations with an Arab country since 1994, when the Israel-Jordan peace treaty came into effect. The agreements were named Abraham Accords to highlight the common belief of Judaism and Islam in the prophet Abraham. So this was normalizing ties between, like the Abraham Accords were literally a major cause of the October 7th attacks, because it normalized ties between Arab states and Israel, while allowing Israel to maintain the concentration-like conditions, the concentration camp-like conditions that Gaza was experiencing, and maintain the slow erosion of the border of the West Bank, like maintain the colonization of the West Bank. That's what they're talking about. So, like, yeah, like they're normalizing relationships with Israel without giving any kind of sovereignty to the Palestinians. It's basically like, oh, well, okay, I guess we'll stop worrying about the Palestinians and just focus on like economic ties with Israel now. So this is a Zionist that the person's describing? Okay. Like, once again, I don't care what these people are advocating for. They didn't have any power. It was this senseless killing. Like, it's a bad killing. The incessant defense of them as they were one of the good Israelis. They focus on bringing peace with Jews and Muslims and Christians together. Who cares? What are you trying to say? That, I mean, yeah, what are you trying to say? The person was obviously mentally unwell. It doesn't matter what their background was. There were innocent people. You will read people saying I'm doing Hasbara, which means propaganda in Hebrew. What they really mean when they say Hasbara is Jewish propaganda. Well, they mean pro-Israel propaganda. The idea that Hasbara is Jewish propaganda is insane. Hasbara hurts Jewish people around the world. It's like the opposite of Jewish propaganda. Because just saying propaganda isn't good enough to describe what Jews do. It's describing pro-Israel propaganda. What do you mean? It's not what... Bro, Joe Biden does Hasbara. Most of the people in the world that do Hasbara are not Jewish. That's why they use the Hebrew word for it. Is there a special word for Chinese, Russian, or North Korean propaganda? Or is Jewish propaganda just so sneaky and insidious that it must be specially qualified? I mean, you can... I don't know. You can say it's like tanky propaganda. Okay. Here is Sarah Milgram's LinkedIn blurb. Like, what is happening? He's basically trying to say that the killer was extra bad because they were like pro-peace advocates. All right, let's just read this. We already kind of read this, actually. So we're not gonna really read this again. The person posted this.
Number, okay, 30K to anyone who'll make this dipshit disappear.
Bro, that Destiny guy needs to get Not gonna fucking lie.
It would just be so easy to it was so like solve all of our problems. Like we would have socialism now at this point, right? We would have socialism at this point if someone just went out of their way and it would be so easy.
Thing that happens, I mean, like, holy shit, guys. If you live in Florida, I have an opportunity for you. If you want to earn $100,000, let me know.
Members are feasting. Well, that was a fun walk down memory lane. And I'm assuming all of those were about targeting Jewish people, right? So Ethan Klein's undisputable truth or undisputable evidence that leftists advocate for the violence of Jewish people. Oh my God, he's still going. Okay. Hassan put his chat into emoji mode, emoji only mode, while he read the shooter's manifesto. He's now done more to protect this terrorist than me. Why do we are friends? Despite being in emoji only mode, his audience was still able to convey their support for the murderous scumbag. Okay. All right. Let's listen.
Undercount. I have no trouble believing the estimates that put the toll at
Just once again, Hassan spent literally years saying, don't harass Ethan Klein. He's not your enemy. Ethan's a good guy. You guys are just misunderstanding him. He sure, he says some bad things, but the thrust of his argument isn't that bad, and there's worse people that are doing worse things that you should be focused on. So that's what Hassan's been doing for the entire year. But in Ethan's mind, it's he's defended this terrorist more than he's defended me when we were friends. Bro, he's such a sad little boy. He's so sad.
100,000 or more. More have been murdered since March of this year than in the Protective Edge and Kasled put together. These are 2 previous sieges that Israel implemented on Gaza in the past. Okay.
So the support is a picture of Kaya? Okay, whatever.
Okay. What more at this point can one say about the proportion of men?
Oh, it's Palestinian flags in the shape of a heart. That's the support. Okay.
Mangled and burned and exploded human beings whom were children. We who let this happen.
I mean, we know that Ethan Klein thinks saying free Palestine is a genocidal phrase because that's what he was arguing with Hassan over.
Will never deserve the Palestinians' forgiveness. They've let us know as much. An armed action is not necessarily a military action. It usually is not. Usually it is theater and a spectacle.
All right, what do we got? On scene, MPD officers were able to review surveillance video from immediately before and during the shooting that captured the exterior of the museum. In summary, the video shows a slim-built person wearing a blue jacket with a hood, a large dark-colored backpack, blue pants, and light-colored shoes, consistent with the clothing worn by Rodriguez, walking across F Street Northwest in the direction of the museum and where the dissidents were standing. Dissidents? Decadents? Preparing to enter the crosswalk. Once Rodriguez walked past the dissidents and 2 witnesses, or decedents, he turned to face their backs and brandished a firearm from the area of his waistband. Why is he highlighting this? Okay. Rodriguez is captured on the video extending both his arms in the direction of the decedents and firing several times as indicated by the muzzle flashes. Once the decedents fell to the ground, Rodriguez is captured on the video advancing closer to the decedents, leaning over them with his arm extended and firing several more times. As decedent 1 attempted to crawl away from Rodriguez, he followed behind her and fired again. After a brief moment, Rodriguez appeared to reload his firearm. At the same time, decedent 1 sat up. Once he reloaded, Rodriguez fired several times at decedent 1. Okay, so basically what we have here is an example of what Noah Samson was talking about when he's like, talking about atrocity porn is a type of propaganda. When you have someone like going super deep into the horrors of violence, that is obviously propaganda. So Ethan Klein's posting propaganda here. When it's 2 people getting killed in America, Ethan wants his audience to read through it in excruciating, painful detail about like every single gunshot. But when it's a genocide happening, he just waves his hands and says, it's a violent war. It's not a good thing. It could be genocidal. I think it could be a genocide, but whatever. We should keep the plight of the Palestinians at the top of our minds, but I'm never going to say anything about how Israel's carrying out its genocide, about the specifics of what Israel's doing, because he doesn't give a fuck. So when it's 2 people, he has time to go over the play-by-play of every single bullet that was fired, the positioning of the shooter, the positioning of the decedents, the person crawling away from the gunman walking forward, shooting them again and again. But he doesn't have a single 2 minutes to talk about the siege that Israel's doing on Gaza, because he doesn't give a fuck about Gaza, because he's a racist piece of shit. He cares when it's like Jewish coded people in America working for Israel, but he doesn't care when it's 100,000 Palestinians dying due to starvation because of the country that he says is so beautiful and it's like a misunderstood country, completely doing an isolated siege on them. He hasn't talked about any of the fucking assassinations that they've done. He hasn't talked about the medical team getting killed. He hasn't talked about like the bombing, the targeting of journalists, because he doesn't give a fuck about any of that shit. That's out of sight, out of mind for him.
Ignorant that you would bring up a symbol like that brings so much pain to a lot of people, and it's not okay.
This is the first time senior Sarah Milgram has felt unsafe at school.
You know, I worry about going to my synagogue, and now I have to worry about safety at school, and that shouldn't be a thing. I hope that they learn their lesson, and I hope they learn to be more tolerable people and nicer people.
It's horrible. Imagine saying this to any other minority group in the wake of a violent tragedy. 2 Israeli embassy officials get killed, and Ethan Klein predictably moves to make the moment about himself from the comfort of his mansion as the criminal state of his community. As the criminal state his community keeps defending continues with unlimited child murder. Okay, well, the minority group, I mean, once again, Ethan Klein wants to pretend like he's a minority and Jewish people in America are getting discriminated against, but keep in mind that he simultaneously is defending a genocidal ethno-state, and he is using his status as a minority to defend that genocidal ethno-state. Like, once again, he doesn't actually have any kind of rebuttal against this. He's just like playing the outrage card. Oh, I'm so outraged that you would say this. Okay, what did Hassan do that was wrong then?
One last question. Did you send the skulls? What is your opinion on the skulls, and did you send them?
I didn't send the skulls. I don't know. I thought the skulls thing was kind of humorous to hear that. Especially when I heard that they were like from skulls.com or some shit like that. That made it funny.
Yeah. Just a death threat to a father, a family.
Yeah, was it a death threat?
I'm just kidding. Yeah, no. Skulls.com with the serial number still attached and the packaging still on it.
To be honest, I didn't know anything about it because I think
we were like, do you need any water? Like, are you okay?
Like, I don't even have any comments here. Oh, here we go. The Twitter leftist that Ethan was talking about. What is this Instagram? What format is this?
And I asked him, like, how's your night going besides this, whatever, and like, welcome to the museum. And he goes, oh, what kind of museum is this? And I'm like, it's a Jewish museum. And he's like, do you think that's why they did this? And I'm like, oh, I don't think so. I don't think it's related. And then he reaches into his bag and pulls out a kafir.
One last question.
Ian, oh my God, bro, like, he's just so unhinged. Ian lost his virginity to Anissa, and he had never had a girlfriend or been with a woman before that. This is what he told me shortly before he started dating her. Oh my God. Okay. I also do like how he posted a comment section, and it obviously had nothing to do with any of these people that he's saying incited violence against random Jewish people. Like, if you had comments of people supporting this in their comment sections, then you would have posted that, correct? What? Okay.
Did you send the skulls? What is your opinion on the skulls, and did you send them?
I didn't send the skulls. I don't know. I thought the skulls.
Does this clip have to do with Ian talking about how much of a player he is? Like, why did Ethan bring this up?
To hear that, especially when I heard that they were like from skulls.com or some shit like that. That made it funny.
Yeah, just to like.
So if you're a virgin, it's bad. If you're Hassan and you, I don't know, have sex with thousands of women, that's bad too. I'm starting to think Ethan's kind of like insecure about his sexuality, and he's just pointing at anything in order to make himself feel better.
Like a death threat to a father, a family.
This is the same clip that we just saw. What? Oh my God. Oh, because it's a father, a family. Is that why Ethan thought of it?
Yeah. Was it a death threat?
Okay, so Ian, who gives a fuck about this? Who gives a fuck about any of this? I never planned on sharing that story. Dude, Ethan, get off the fucking toilet. Get out of bed, bro. Don't you have kids? Don't, like, what happened to the kids that you say you have to worry about so much? You've posted like 20 times in the last 18 hours. I never planned on sharing that story, but after seeing him call the skulls humorous, I realized there is nothing they won't say or do, and so I'm returning the favor. Oh my god. Dude, the skulls were funny. They were pretty funny, especially... Like, what? Bro, you sent the skulls back. That's how funny it was. You're like, oh, this is a death threat. Let me just send it back and try to get... so they can get a refund. My boy has not been so much as touched by the opposite sex before Anissa. In itself, it's not a big... And then laughing, crying face... In itself, it's not a big deal, but I find the context of the relationship, I find it very humorous. Oh my god, dude, he's so butthurt. I've never seen a man this butthurt. That they're like, the skulls were funny. Because it was from skulls.com, which is like a funny fucking name for a website, especially a website where they're like, it's a death threat, and it's literally skulls.com. Like, that could be straight out of a comedy movie. But they were laughing at the skulls being funny. And now you're like, but the fact you were a virgin, that's so funny. I find it very humorous. In the context of the relationship, wouldn't that make it less funny? Oh, I was a virgin and now we have a serious relationship and we're married with each other. Wouldn't that actually make it less funny? Like, because they have a healthy relationship? What context would make... oh, my wife took my virginity. What relationship would make that funny? Like, what possible context would that be? Chad, if you have ideas, let me know. Would it be like, oh, I'm a swinger or something? Would that make it funny? I feel like, I don't fucking know. I have no idea. Oh, and now he's being back to silly. I'm just a silly little guy. Anissa clarified and showed proof that he was 17, so I removed the story that he was not 17. So he said something about iDubbbz being 17 and Anissa like raped him. Is that what was going on? Bro, Ethan is getting crazy. Oh yeah, here. Hi, this is actually illegal, or this is actually a lie and illegal. My ex-partner was Akkadian, and it was a very public relationship. He was 19 and I was 22. You can look up his birthday when we dated. I am beyond shocked and disgusted. They don't deny it. My interest is not about sex, it's about how pathetic you are. Speaking of which, Anissa's previous boyfriend before Ian was allegedly 17 when she was 22. Anyway, why are you so sexually invested in us? Bro, actually insane. What the fuck, dude? Oh my god. Okay, so Ethan does realize that the internet exists, right? Okay. Well, I guess like his fans aren't going to look up proof for this, so Anissa clarified and showed proof that he's not 17, so I removed the story. Guess who had to wipe their entire Discord history again? Interesting timing, Hoscord. Yo. Oh. Okay, so you had a mix of Ethan being like, everyone, all of these leftists want to kill me, to him being
I think,
oh, actually, these people were good people, and so they shouldn't have been killed because they were good people. To him then saying,
ignorant.
Anissa and Ian have sex with each other. Ha ha ha. Like a fucking 5-year-old kid. Okay, man, he's losing it. He's really losing it. I personally question whether she was ever... What are you guys talking about in chat? I look away from chat for like 20 minutes. And now you're talking about whether like... What is this? If Gila enjoyed sex with Ethan? What? I look back at chat. Guys, don't... This is why I don't have chat on screen, okay? This is why I don't have chat. Well, that and because I don't know how to put it on my video feed. But they're Jesus Christ, guys. Okay. So listen, there's a few H3 podcasts that I need to catch up on, but I'm going to call it for here because I have to go touch grass. Should we listen to? Why is this a series that Candace Owens is doing? How many fucking episodes of Harvey Speaks has there been? There's been 4 episodes of interviews with Harvey Weinstein. Candace Owens, what the fuck are you doing? All right, guys, I'm gonna call it. This was not good. So we're already seeing how they're conflating criticizing the Israeli government with responsibility for these murders. They're already attacking pro-Palestinian voices. They're not actually attacking anti-Semitic people like Candace Owens or anyone of her ilk. And that's because Candace Owens is Republican, so they're not going to do that. Hence the title of the stream. It's going to be a dark time. It already is. People are already getting, literally like kidnapped for being a pro-Palestinian, and this is just going to exacerbate that. So anyway, I'll talk to you later, probably later today. Thanks for checking it out. It's a fun morning stream, and I'll see you in a little bit. Later.